Good morning, grade 4. So today we're going to continue with this lesson, but only with our book. So yesterday we learned the words year, revolution, and hemisphere. What happens in a year? A year is 365 days. The earth travels around or revolves around the sun. The earth takes 365 and quarter days, or 1 year, to complete one revolution. It travels on an oval-shaped orbit and it travels around the sun, also spins on its axis. So, while it's moving around the sun, it's also moving like this. It's moving around the sun like this. At the same time, it's moving like this. So, rotation and revolution happen at the same time. Here, length of day and changing seasons. In 6.4, the last lesson, you saw that the length of day changed from one day to the next. The length of day either gets longer or shorter. This change in the length of day is a sign that the season was changing. The seasons are caused by the earth revolving around the sun once a year and the tilting of the earth's axis. So, the reason seasons change is because the earth is tilted on its axis. It's not upright, it's tilted, and because of revolution. Now here we can see this diagram. It shows us the position of the earth in its orbit around the sun at different months of the year. Here we have March, February, January, December. You can see the earth is not upright, it's tilted, and it's moving all over in an oval orbit. The season depends on which hemisphere you live in. Like I said yesterday in the lesson, here we have two hemispheres, the northern and the southern. If your country on the northern hemisphere here, you have winter. But here you will have summer. If it's here, you will have spring. Here you will have autumn. And the opposite way too. Here the northern hemisphere have spring, the southern have autumn. Here the northern have summer, the northern have winter. The season depends on which hemisphere you live in. Countries between the equator and the North Pole are in the northern hemisphere. Countries between the equator and the South Pole are in the southern hemisphere. Here we have, this is the northern hemisphere. We see the countries here, they are in the northern hemisphere, and countries down here are in the southern hemisphere. And we have countries along the equator. When the northern hemisphere has summer, the southern hemisphere has winter. This is because the northern hemisphere is tilted toward the sun. If you can see it here, it's tilted toward the sun in this direction. As the equator, there are no distinct seasons. There is equal day and night every day of the year. Countries along the equator, they have day and nights, are the same length. Now here we have these questions. I'll put the answer for you in a picture, but I'll answer them here just by saying the answers. Here we have this diagram. We can see the earth, it's tilted. We have the North Pole and the South Pole. And we have sun rays traveling to earth. Question number 1. Explain why this image is showing summer in the southern hemisphere and not the northern hemisphere. Why? Because the southern hemisphere is tilted toward the sun. Okay? We can see it here, it's in the direction. Suggest the length of day experienced at A, B, and C. If you look at it, you can see here, these black lines show the day and these show the night. So let's look at this. Who has the longest day? This is the length. B has the longest day. Here, see this black line B. C has the day from here, until the end of the blue zone. So which one has the longest day? B. And C has the shortest day. Question A. Describe the changing pattern of length of day between January and June where you live. We live in Jordan. So in January, days are very short in winter, and in June, they get longer. Suggest an explanation for this pattern based on your knowledge. We said why, because the earth is tilted on its axis and it's revolving around the sun. So the change of the position of the earth around the sun here affects the amount of sun we get, and that affects the length of day. So what we have learned from this lesson: the earth revolves around the sun in an orbit once every 365 and quarter days. As it revolves, it spins on its axis.